So ADA over the past couple of days has been on an uptrend, and I mentioned in my previous update that it was highly likely that we see a green weekend, and that was confirmed once we ended up breaching past the previous local top at 68.55 cents, which resulted in a change of character, and that then signaled that we were on a bullish trend. And I've mentioned previously about how we could have two potential setups in play, with one of which being bearish, where we could see a WX Y structure to the downside, and ADA could tap into this range between 52 cents to 55 cents. And the flip side could be that we are bullish, and what we could see forming is a WX Y structure to the upside, where ADA could tap into this range between 70 cents to 72 cents. And yeah, given that we ended up breaching past the previous local top, it looks like we are on a bullish trend, and what we are forming is this WX Y structure to the upside. And so I'm looking out for ADA to tap into this range. And so, yeah, what I'm looking at for also is for ADA to be within this Y wave. And what I do is check to see what's taken place within this move to the upside since the previous update. And so if I bring in the Fib tool and bring this down to 64.66 cents. And yeah, you can see that on this move to the upside, we ended up exceeding the 1.6 level, and that then triggered a 5-way structure. And so it looks like we had the wave 4 and the wave 5 that played out, where we could have topped off at 69.38 cents. Now, I will be on the lookout for ADA to still be within this 5-way structure, where it's possible that the third wave ended up topping off at 69.38 cents, and what we are forming right now is the fourth wave, and then we see that reversal to the upside, where the fifth wave could then tap into this range here. And so what I do is I'll drop down to the 5-minute chart and check to see what's taking place within this move here. And it does look like we have a corrective move that's playing out. And so if I bring in the Fib tool and bring this up to 69.07 cents, and you can see that on this move to the downside, we failed to retrace towards the 1.6 level, which is a good thing, because what that means is we're not ultra bearish, and what we are forming is a correction as opposed to an impulsive move to the downside. And so what we ended up having forming on this move to the downside was a WX structure, like so, and that was then followed by this corrective move to the upside, followed by this move to the downside, where we ended up actually breaching below the previous local low at 68.22 cents. And so in essence, what we are forming right now is a WX structure, like so. And this X wave here would typically reach anywhere between 50 to 88.2% of the W wave. And so that region sits between 68.8 cents to 69.24 cents. And so yeah, you can see that we ended up tapping into this range. That's then followed by this reversal to the downside. And so it looks like ADA is now within this Y wave, where that Y wave would typically reach anywhere between 1 to 1.236 of the W wave. So if I bring in the Fib tool and bring this up to 69.12 cents. So that region sits between 67.69 cents to 67.96 cents. And so this is the next key target that I'll be looking at for on ADA. And yeah, what we could have forming within this Y wave is a WX structure, like so. So yeah, it's possible that ADA is now within this X wave, which again would typically reach anywhere between 50 to 88.2% of the W wave. And that region sits between 68.61 cents to 69 cents. And so if ADA was to continue to move to the upside and exceed the 88.2% retracement level, it's possible that the Y wave would have completed and we then see that reversal to the upside. But personally, I'm looking at for that further push to the downside where ADA taps into this range here. And from then on, it will be interesting to see if the WX structure completes the fourth wave and then we see that reversal to the upside, where we can then begin to track the wave 5. Or worst case scenario, what we're going to forming is a deeper corrective move to the downside, made up of a bigger WX structure, like so, and that will then complete the fourth wave, and then we see that reversal to the upside to then complete the fifth wave. And in order for the 5-wave structure to be in play, what we need is for the price of ADA to not breach past the wave 1 or the wave 2 origin. And that level sits over here at 65.95 cents. If the price of ADA was to exceed this level, then that will then invalidate this 5-way structure. And instead, the alternative would be that we ended up completing the 5-way structure where the third wave would have topped off over here, the fourth wave would have bottomed out over here, and the fifth wave would have topped off over here. And what we are forming is that correction to the downside, where we can see an even deeper move to the downside, where of course we then breach below this level here. And so yeah, as of right now, I'm looking at for ADA to tap into this range here short term, and then we see that reversal to the upside where we could tap into this range that I set out previously. But of course, that's something I'm going to be tracking in the days and weeks to come, and I'll keep you guys updated. So yeah, that's just my update on Cardano ADA. Hopefully you found it useful, and if you did, then feel free to hit the like button, and if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.